What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Just, back again with another video. This is your one-stop shop for anime and manga. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, I just want to start off this video by saying I'm sorry I haven't been posting anything. That's all changed. This month was very hectic for me, but now I'm back in the groove of things, and I'm going to start pumping out my videos at least weekly, so you definitely get more content from me. As I said, this is your one-stop shop for anime and manga. We're going to get right into it. Today, what we're going to be talking about is one of my favorite series that I've read, and I've finally started collecting it a little bit, and that's My Hero Academia Vigilante. Now, if you haven't heard of My Hero Academia Vigilante, then you have to get into this. This is a spin-off / prequel. It takes place roughly around when Deku and Class 1A, when they're around in middle school. So it's roughly around then, a few years before the actual main story. I started reading My Hero Vigilante on the Shonen Jump app when it was releasing weekly. It eventually switched to bi-weekly releases, and now the series is completely done. And I believe there's going to be 15 volumes altogether, and that's going to be the whole series. This series is amazing. I love this more than normal My Hero Academia, up until we get to the war arc, which if you're caught up with the anime, you see where we're starting. This is where My Hero Academia, from this point on in the anime, becomes insane, becomes incredible, and that's where I truly love it more. But everything before that point, I honestly believe My Hero Academia Vigilante is way better. If you don't know about Vigilante, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis on what the manga is, because it's just incredible and I think everyone should give it a try, especially if you're a huge My Hero Academia fan. The story is about a young man named Koichi, and he's basically a college student who was never able to go to UA or any other hero high school, so he doesn't have a hero license. His quirk really isn't the best quirk in the world. His quirk is called Slide and Glide. So basically what his quirk does, if he makes contact onto any surface with at least 3 of his limbs, he can just slide and glide as fast as he wants. I'm sorry, not as fast as he wants. He can go about as fast as a scooter. So that's really not that good. He can't really go that fast. But even though his quirk isn't the greatest quirk out there, he always wanted to help people. And that's what he does. So with his quirk, he dresses up and he helps people and becomes a vigilante. Now at first, he's just helping people collect their garbage. He's helping people just do miscellaneous things. If they need to get to point A to point B, he'll try and bring them there. He'll, like his friendly neighborhood Spider-Man almost like. Koichi is doing this, miscellaneous stuff throughout his neighborhood. He's called himself the good guy. That's his quote-unquote hero name. And that's who he is for now. Until he meets 2 other people, a street performer named Pop and an old-time dude named Knuckle Duster. And that's when everything really picks up, because now he doesn't just stop, people from littering. He's actually taking out these villains. Vigilante has a much darker tone than the original My Hero Academia, where it's just pop and bubbly and everything, because of how the backstories are and how gruesome everything can get. It can get a little bit dark, but definitely not, incredible. It's not a seinen manga or anything like that. It's definitely shonen, but if you compare it to normal My Hero Academia, it's definitely a much darker tone, and I think you'll see it when you see some of the people's backstories, when you just see what they have to go through. Because what I like about My Hero Academia Vigilante is you get a lot more insight into the hero world, because not everyone can be, with a great quirk like Bakugo or Deku and go to UA. Some people have to become vigilantes because if they want to help people, that's the only way. But being a vigilante is outlawed. So you trying to help people, meanwhile you defeating these villains, and the cops are after you and the heroes are after you. So you dodging and weaving, making sure you don't get caught doing what you're not supposed to be doing. So Knuckle Duster, Pop, and Koichi, who goes by the new name The Crawler, is basically your heroes. And they're like your Class 1A, so to speak. And the real main story about this is they're trying to stop a drug that creates instant villains. So it's a drug that just makes people go ballistic and makes their quirks get powerful, but they lose all sense of self and they just instantly become villains, and they just start destroying everything and hurting people. And because they're just instant villains where they just pop up out of nowhere, the heroes don't really have time to react to much. But that's when these vigilantes, they come in, they try to hold off the villain, they try to stop the villain, and if they can't do that, they at least hold him off and stop the destruction until the actual heroes get there, and then that's when the vigilantes dip. The series is a little bit of a mystery because you want to know who's causing this, rapid instant villains case. How is this drug called Trigger? That's what the drug is called. How is it being made? How is it doing all this stuff? And why aren't the heroes catching up to it? Why is it only the vigilantes that are seeing this? And the short answer, without giving any spoilers, the vigilantes can see is because they're just walking through everyday life. When someone just pops up into an instant villain, instead of going to call a hero, the vigilantes suit up and they go handle what they're supposed to do. That's roughly a brief synopsis of My Hero Vigilante. It's a very fun read. It's very short. Like I said, I believe it's 15 volumes, and I think there's only 13 right now is released. And it's definitely a nice prequel, of course, because it's a prequel / spin-off. They couldn't do any crazy bombastic, all for one and anything like that. Just they couldn't do any of that because it has to be a prequel. It has to be before Deku started becoming a hero, before everything started going like that. One of my favorite things about My Hero Academia Vigilante is the fact that you see the pro heroes, because they're the only really real occurring characters that pop up, because obviously the pro heroes were pro heroes before Deku and before Class 1A. So you see like nice things with Eraserhead, who you see how he's recruited to become a teacher, because this takes place before he was a teacher in UA. So that gives you a little rough timeline of what I'm talking about. You see how Midnight is trying to recruit him because she just got the job at UA. And you see how Ingenium, which is Tenya's brother, his older brother, how he's the real Ingenium and how he's working along, how he's fighting criminals, what he's doing on the highway, and things of that nature. Besides getting some like insights into the deeper My Hero Academia hero world, you get some pretty neat stuff. You get the introduction of Vigilantes, like I said, which is the calling card of this manga. But you also get the backstory of one of my favorite characters, and I believe it's probably your favorite character, Stain, the hero killer. You see how he became Stain, because originally, before he was Stain, he was a vigilante. And you get to see everything like that, and you get to see what turned him into Stain, the hero killer, because he didn't just wake up and want to go and kill heroes. He got that ideology after running into this crew and seeing vigilantes at work, because he was also a vigilante. He was, like I said, more of a darker, crazy killer vigilante where he killed the villains. And these guys, they don't kill villains, obviously. They take them in. So he had to be stopped. But you see how everything unfolds. You see why Stain became, the insane, obsessed hero killer. You see why he became like that. His entire backstory. Even why his nose got cut off. If you notice that, you will understand everything if you read My Hero Academia Vigilante. You get Stain's past, and also in this manga, you get Eraserhead's past. Now, we have all seen, if you're up to date with the anime, you're up to date with the manga, you pretty much know Eraserhead's past, but you get an even more detailed version in My Hero Academia Vigilante. And to be completely honest, when My Hero Academia Vigilante was coming out weekly, or bi-weekly, I forget which it was, the exact same time that My Hero Academia chapters came out for Eraserhead's backstory was the same time My Hero Vigilante chapters came out for Eraserhead's backstory, excuse me. And I like how they did that. They timed it so that when I was reading My Hero Academia, I read Eraserhead's backstory, I jumped over to Vigilante to read, and it was an even more in-depth version of that backstory. And you really get to feel Eraserhead's pain. You really get to understand why he's so cynical, why he is the way he is, and it's just a beautiful, heartwarming scene. If you love Eraserhead, he's one of my favorite heroes just of all time, because he's like the Kakashi Sensei. He's just incredible. His quirk is amazing, and you get all that and more while reading his backstory. And the last big thing that you really find out in My Hero Academia Vigilante is you get even the backstory of Nomus, how the Nomus were created, how they were brought up, and all of things like that. And a slight spoiler, it goes and happens to deal with Trigger. So if you're really curious about that quirk enhancing drug, definitely pick this up. Definitely give it a read. I recommend everyone to pick up and read My Hero Academia Vigilante, because I just think it's incredible. There's nothing like this as far as I'm aware of when it comes to a spin-off or like a prequel series to be running at the same time as the normal series. And it may be what it is, but what it is incredible. I really like it, especially like I said before, the whole war arc where everything became crazy, especially if you're up to date with the anime and the manga, how just from there everything goes just left and amazing, great. This was what I thought was better than normal My Hero Academia. I never was the biggest fan of My Hero. I love superheroes, I love things like that. I love to know more about the Hero Society, and all that is given to you in Vigilante. You get everything. You get more details about the hero system. You get more insight on Hero Society. All in all, I highly recommend My Hero Academia Vigilante to anyone who wants to read even just a good shonen. And what I like about this is, let's say you're not caught up with My Hero Academia, the anime, or the manga, or anything like that. Let's say you just started reading My Hero Academia. Because this is a prequel and it doesn't really deal with, crazy events or tie-ins to like the main story, you can read this and not understand My Hero Academia at all. That's one of the things I really do love about this. This is not a necessity. You don't have to read My Hero Academia Vigilante to understand My Hero, to get a better understanding about anything. You can just read this, enjoy it, read it for what it is, and maybe come back to regular My Hero later on. So that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you made it this far in the video and you enjoy my content, consider subscribing, leaving a like, hit the bell so you know I post another video. This is your boy Just. I'm off this.